Good morning, gang. David Guppelt, Thinker Farmer here. I'm here with a very good family friend and businessman, Al Robert, and been home with family, as some of you know, for kind of health needs and things going on, and started working part-time with him as well as in Bogalusa. Mr. Robert, thank you for being on the channel today.
My pleasure.
So, sir, would you mind, you're 77 years old now, you've been a businessman for a lot longer than I've been alive, and kind of tell us kind of your story about how you decided to be a businessman and whatnot.
Well, some things I don't guess you really decide, it's just the way things turned out. And we grew up in a family business where we all worked with my father, who was all distributor. And we grew up painting stations. There's 7 in the family. There's 6 boys and 1 girl. So from day one, we worked. We grew up on a farm, had chickens and cows and pigs and horses. And after I finished school, we had a service station next to the bulk plant, and I started running the service station when I finished college. And I enjoyed doing what I was doing. And a friend of mine who lived down the road, who was running a farm, had some old slave cabins on a plantation. There was a dozen slave cabins. So I don't know why, but I was just attracted to old things. So I asked him he thought I could be able to buy those cabins. He said, I have no idea. But he said Exxon Mobil owns them. So he gave me the name and number, so I called and wrote Exxon Mobil. And there was 12 of them. And they said, yeah, you can have them for $1 a piece. So I bought the cabins, and I moved one of them behind the station where I was working, not knowing what I was going to do with it.
Yeah.
I worked on it for a year or two, and then decided to open up a lounge and bar room. And once we opened the bar room, after about 3 months, I got tired of feeling with the people drinking, so we started selling pull bars. And once we started selling pull bars, one thing led to the other. So I ended up in the restaurant business. And opened up another restaurant, a coffee house in Gonzales, opened up a coffee house in Sorrento. And it was all fun, but I got tired of that. So, over those years, we moved a bunch of buildings. We probably moved 40 different buildings and restored them. So that's really where my true love was moving and restoring old buildings.
Restoring old things.
Right. And that's basically what I'm doing today, by dilapidated buildings or warehouses.
Yeah.
That people have no use for, and fix them up and then repurpose them.
That's
which
right.
has worked out really good for me.
Eliminate waste, more or less.
Exactly.
Because
right
now, I mean, these buildings, you don't mind if I show the camera briefly?
No.
We're at it's 7 acres, right?
Right.
And y'all bought this. This is in a pretty nice section of town overall. It's just it's an old boating area, and lot of real estate to it's been unused now.
Yeah, for about 8 years.
Yeah.
It's actually me and 2 of my brothers bought this together.
Yeah.
But he was the fellow who built this was the largest Starcraft and Mercury dealer in the South at one time.
Wow.
And then,
so he was big into boating for sure.
Boating, yeah.
Well, what you love about this is the restoring process of old things. Why do you like that so much?
I don't have a clue. It's just a drive. I just like to take something that nobody else wants, or cares for. It just think it's outlived this time, which it did. And once you start working and doing it and seeing the improvement, it's really self-satisfying. It really is. And then it becomes useful. Then we either lease it or turn around and sell it. So
yeah,
it's been fun. This is a little bit more of an undertaking as compared to the old houses that I've moved in the past.
I hear you.
It's a lot bigger project.
Yeah.
But it usually works.
I hear that. What's your future plans then? You're 77. How long you think you're going to retire at some point from restoring, or what do you think with your business, what you've done?
Well, Teresa tells me all the time, said, when is enough is enough. I said, it's not the idea of enough is enough, it's just what I enjoy doing. I mean, some people like to fish, some people like to hunt. I like to repurpose old buildings. So I don't see myself retiring. I mean, as long as I'm able
Yeah.
to be here, even if I'm not doing it personally, I can direct people to do it. And people like David to help me do it.
I hear that. Yes, sir. Well, we definitely need work today, and we need people to work.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I've got one other thing I'm going to ask you to share, sir, and it's some wise quotes you've shared with me over the years. We've known each other. I feel, well, you've known me since I was in diapers, probably, and
Exactly.
but really hadn't done too much work together. We'd done some political campaigns and
Right.
things together. Some quotes you'd shared with me. I'm going to kind of say them, and then I'm going to ask you kind of a little about them.
Sure.
I know my favorite one you've told me is "He who hesitates is lost," and that's about decisiveness, I would think. Where'd you get that quote from?
I really don't have a clue. We grew up with a bunch of my dad's brothers and sisters and uncles, my uncles, and they always had these wise quotes, and we just picked up from them.
Picked them up from your
Picked 'em up
family.
for family, right?
I hear that. And you told me, I laugh at this, but it's about patience. A little time and patience can skin a minnow.
Right. This was an old black guy that worked with us forever, and he worked at one of the local industries, and he'd work for us part-time after that. But that was his saying.
I hear that.
No matter what the project was, he always was there to help. So that's why I got that saying. James Carter was his name.
James Carter. Well, one last question, Al, and I'm going to call you by your nickname that Super Wrench gave you, Mountain Man. You went up to Colorado and
Right.
you did hunting trips with him, and he was Super Wrencher Brett Marchand. He was a fellow businessman, but he restored a lot of old tractors and forklifts. What would you say to anybody wanting to get into business now? I mean, it's a pretty tough business climate. Probably, I would say, tougher than when you started out 50 years ago
Right.
or more. What would you say to anybody starting out in business?
Well, it's, like you said, it's tough, but it's it's all in your attitude. I mean, you have to really like what you're doing, and just to go into business to make money is not a good recipe for success. I mean, you have to do your homework like everything else, and the most important thing is do what you like to do. I always told people, if you're doing what you like to do, life is easy and you're having a good time. If you're good at it, you'll probably make money at it, and if you make money at it, you'll be successful. But I think the most important thing is to go into business with something that you like, not to go into business to make money.
Well, I like that. And with that, sir, thank you for being on the channel.
I enjoyed it, David. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And thank you for letting me work with you and fix up some tractors and some areas. And there you have it. Anything you want to add or?
No, I think this is great what you're doing.
Well, thank you, sir. All righty, well, gang, with that, there you have it. This is a good family friend. Enjoy working with him. I've enjoyed knowing him over the years. And I wish all y'all on the channel blessings for the journey, and keep it real.